what's my weakness? Apparently it's alcohol. So we're going to talk about today. I'm the mom who knows nada. My name is Brianna. This is the Mom That Knows Nada podcast. And we're doing a 1-year check-in. This girl's going to tell you all about the milestone that she has reached this week. It's absolutely fucking incredible. I can't wait to pick her brain about it. So welcome back, Vega, aka Alex.
Thank you.
I'm so stoked to have this conversation with you. So let's go back and discuss the anniversary that you're celebrating.
So this Wednesday, March 23rd, will be my 1 year of sobriety. So, and that includes, I get a lot of questions. I know, yay! I get a lot of questions about that. People are like, "What do you mean sober? Like just alcohol, clean and sober? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you just doing wine and beer?" I'm like, no. Like, it's like, it's literally clean and sober from everything. Like nothing of brain altering changes or anything like that has been in my body for.
Caffeine
on Wednesday will be a year. Caffeine, yes, but I cut down. So I guess caffeine can count as that a little bit because I guess technically you can. Right, you can get like I learned in my class, which I'll go more in detail with that. Like my little program that I went through, like that's technically you can get cigarettes, stuff like that. I don't smoke cigarettes, so but even if I did, none of those. But I do cut back on caffeine only because what I enjoyed was a lot of just stimulants. So I just so it's just kind of it's cut back and give our insides a break.
It's really funny you say that because I was talking to a nutritionist here and there, and she's actually been on the podcast a couple times, and it's been amazing to me as when I changed my caffeine, the way I consumed caffeine. So I make sure I have at least 16 ounces of water. Oh, yeah. Before I have food or anything in the morning. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm dehydrated. I just woke up." Right. Right. And
it's
then,
so true.
And then I don't drink my coffee until I have food. And it's amazing how much I've been able to cut back. And I can notice even more so now how I get with just the caffeine. So I think that's incredible that if you've been able to cut that back.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I was chugging in addition to whatever, I need this espresso shot, to get you through the day because I was so, when you're in that lifestyle, we call it active addiction, you're just all over the place. You're sleeping, but you're not getting restful sleep. If you are sleeping, there may be nights where you don't, or you go to bed and you're playing catch up all the time. I used to say the server term, we're in the weeds. We're in the weeds. I used to say, my life's in the weeds, all the time. I used to be wow. My life is just in the weeds because I feel I was always playing catch up and I'm always playing, pretend, how, we're in serving, everything's fine. Oh my gosh, the kitchen right with you. And, the kitchen's on fire, the plumbing in the backup, and, a cook pieced out, and servers are drunk or whatever. It's that's literally how my life was. Yeah. So that's what I would say. But, so that's my celebration is 1 year clean and sober from everything. And
that's a great analogy too, because so many of us have worked in hospitality in some way, shape, or form. In the week, I love that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm still whoa, that's incredible.
Whoa, whoa.
That makes so much sense.
All the time. Yeah, I would say that all the time.
That's so good. Why is this milestone important to you?
Well, so, I started drinking at a young age and doing other stuff at probably my 20s. And it was just always up and down. When I had Dom, I stopped all that. But I've always been the type of person to, I'll stop for a couple months because I'll go on my little health kick and I'll, do my little challenges, which I love to do, and I'll be okay, but then it's I'll keep pick it back up again if it's a certain crew or a certain crowd or if I look back, it's mostly been a person that I'm if I'm dating them or something like that. We're dating and we're oh, let's go party, let's do this. Would it be cool to do this? And and I remember so obviously the pandemic kind of made it worse when I got here to Texas. I wasn't really partying that too bad. I went to esthetician school. Then I was losing a bunch of weight on my little workout stuff. But then I think I started hanging out with a certain crowd, and this one person, a couple people, actually, that I was like dating here or there, and they were just, you know, dealers. So I kind of got caught up on that lifestyle. And then I went down, transferred down to Dallas with North. And just, it's like, you get caught up in that lifestyle, the late nights and people just partying all the time and just like, not good. And so I finally went back and transferred back, and then pandemic hit. I was actually okay. I didn't really drink during the pandemic. But then afterwards, it spiraled. I can touch on that too, but it spiraled out of control afterwards. Yeah, we'll get there. And so it got to the point where I couldn't even like hold down a job. And I was lying to people. People were like, "Oh, like, weren't you working here?" Because I used to be that girl, like the bartender, like, "Come see your girl. I'm here at blah, blah, blah." And so everyone's like, "Weren't you just there? Weren't you just here?" And I would be so just like, either hungover or messed up or just like, screw it, I don't care. Like, because I got the really bad case of the F-its, you know, like I just got, I didn't care at that point. And so, I remember I was like working at this like little job. I was working like bartending, like guest bartending here and there. And it was like December 2020. And I told my brother and his girlfriend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, like, I think I'm going to go sober for a year." Like, "Oh yeah?" And I was like, "Yeah, I haven't told anyone, but I think I'm just going to go sober for a year and see how that goes." Cause I was having a lot of health issues. Like, I was in the hospital maybe like 15 times. Here you are.
Wow.
And it got to the point where like, people were like, "Were you really sick again, Alex? Are you just hung?" But it's like, that all was intertwined, you know, like I was sick because of that. I wasn't living a healthy lifestyle. So my body was just like reacting to that. You know, when you don't eat, and then I would go to work and bartend, and next, you know, I'm just chugging Red Bulls, you know, because I didn't eat the night before, putting in alcohol and other things in my body. And my body's just like, that's not sustainable. So I didn't drink for December 2020. I didn't drink on my birthday when I turned 31 in January 2021. I didn't drink in February. We had that like crazy freeze when you heard about it in Texas. Like the North freeze. Yeah. Didn't drink of that. I was still not drinking. Then I got a job at Boomer Jackson Play Night, opened it up, and that place wasn't drinking when I first started, but I guess technically it was a relapse, I guess, for me. Like I didn't call it that at the time, just because I didn't use those terms, but you know, it was like a cocktail waitressing. A lot of people are young girls, and they're all like, you know, let's go drink afterwards. And like every special was like, we have $3 Fireball shots, we have $4 this shot. So it's like, after a while, like, I remember the day. It was actually a year ago today, because like started happening March 17th. I started going out and drinking again, and I just was so overwhelmed. I think because what I used to do was just like get overwhelmed, and then I try to take everything, and then I'm like, "Oh, I need a drink," you know? And so I ended up taking all the drinks. Like, I remember having like back-to-back 7 double Deep Eddy lemon shots. And so that's a lot, you know, when you work drinking for like 4 months, you know, and all of a sudden I probably didn't eat that day because I worked like I worked like noon to like 1 a.m. You know, I remember it was like last call. It's at a little bar locally, and it got to like 2 days later. I actually like texted my job, and I was like, "Hey, I can't come in. I'm too messed up. I quit. I have a problem." I straight up told them that. That's not the best way to do that at all. But in the moment, I was like, I don't know what to do.
Get that.
I just quit, and I just was like pissed at myself for quitting a job again. And I was like, "Dude, you can't be doing this. Like, you're 31, you have a son, you have bills to pay. Like, you've never been like that before." Like, I never was the type of person to call out or like do any of that. And then I started becoming that person, you know, and I was always making like weird excuses, because that's what we do in our active addiction. And I just was like, I finally was like, I can't do this anymore. And I had what I call my active desperation. And that was that day. It was March 23rd. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I had a friend come. I told my mom. I just was crying. I was like, I didn't eat for a couple of days. I was like sunken in. I didn't sleep. Like, my eyes were just like, I don't know. I wish I had a picture, or maybe I don't. Maybe I deleted it, you know, but of just my like, you know, just, you know, obviously malnourished, tired, probably crusty. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, just like, you feel crusty. You feel gross. Like, I also had like such a moral hangover and such a moral, like the anxiety was setting in because I was just like, oh my God. And like, I was trying to hide it for so long, and, I couldn't do it anymore. So when but it was almost like a freeing sense, like a liberating sense, like, hey, I need help, because we're so scared to say that. But don't get me wrong, like that first week, I like literally stayed in the corner of like my room and like the couch and I just like told Dominic, I was like, I'm sick, I don't feel good, which I was sick and I didn't feel good, obviously. But my friend that day, she like drove from Forney, which is like an hour away from where I live, and she called like all these different like rehab places and outpatient programs, and I was honestly prepared to go away. But then I was like freaking out, like, oh my God, like what do I tell Dominic? Like I don't want him to think, like I don't want to have that memory, you know?
Totally.
And so that was going through my brain. I was just like, oh my, what do I do? So I got an interview with this place, and they were like, you don't need to, because of like your situation right now, I don't need like actual like face-to-face care. Like I'll be okay. That's where they referred me to the outpatient program. So that following week I started an outpatient program, and kind of like a rehab therapy, you know? Yeah, it's just, and then so that was the first step of like my healing process. Like I am so grateful for that program. I am so grateful for that program, because at first I was just like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? All the questions. And then because the anxiety is setting in, because when you drink and when you do all those different things, we all have anxiety. Everyone's like, well, I got really bad anxiety. Yeah, a lot of people do it, but you're just fueling it and you're prolonging when it's going to hit and set in. And you're not sitting with those feelings. You know what I mean? You're just prolonging it.
It's a good statement.
You're just, it's going to come. And however it comes, the longer you prolong it, it's going to be more destructive and to you and people around you.
Yeah.
You know, and so
true.
This is why why it's so important to me is because, people would call me, like I've been drinking and being the party girl since I'm 32 now. Since I was 15 years old. Oof. So people have memories like, remember we got wasted at this party? And remember like those are the, memories, and people review me as like the party girl, as in like, oh, where's the party, Alex? Like, I remember one time my brother even told, like this girl, the same girl that called the rehab for me. She was like, when she first moved here, she was like, hey, she told my brother, hey, I'm going to have a drink with your sister. He's like, oh, no. Oh, no. My sister doesn't have just one drink. She's like, no, be fine. Like, she said, we'll just go to happy hour. He's like, no. My sister doesn't have just one drink. Like, you're going to be like, hating yourself the next day. You're going to be out to 6 in. She's like, no, it'll be fine. The next time he saw my brother, she's like, you were right. And so, like, he's like, I told you.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, because I'm always like, that was the kind of drinker I was, the kind of party I was. I never, honestly, even in my active tradition, I never drank at home. I mean, like, if there was like Christmas party, something like that, I never drank at home. I was a party drinker. Like, I was a social drinker. And I started drinking. Oh, what are we doing next? Where are we going? Let's get this bottle.
Yeah.
Let's get this. But I can go over days without one. So that's why it's so important to me to show, like, trust me, if I could do it, you can do it. Obviously, there's different steps to take to get here, and I've done through a lot, and I've came to my own active aspirations, because some people will tell me, oh, I want to do that too. I can't tell you to stop that. I can't be like, oh, well, don't do that. Do what I did. You're going to have to come to your own active aspirations. You got to be fed up with your own shit and put yourself in a timeout for a long time. No, you got to put yourself, and like a longer than a timeout, whatever that is, like ground yourself, whatever. You got to be sick of your own shit. And I was sick of my own shit, dude. I was sick of looking who I was in the mirror. Because I was pissing myself knowing that I could do better. You're
just preaching to the choir right now. I'm like, dude, yeah, I was just girls sing it.
I was just pissed off. Yes. But it's true though. I was just pissed off at myself, and I knew I could do better. And not saying that, other people who live that lifestyle don't think they can do better. It's just, I want it better for myself. Some people just kind of coast and they think that, hey, I like to do that. I like to party. I like to treat myself. I like to go to my job, and then I get home, I do that. Cool. But that's not me. And then it started becoming a problem when I knew when I took that first drink, I didn't know what was going to happen. I would ruin my life. Like, there was so many times that if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in, like, you know, a car accident or the hospital or no job or blowing money on this. Like, it all stemmed for that. So this is why it's so important to me. And I'm just so much healthier now because honestly, what we say in AA and NA, you're going to either end up in jail, institutions, or death. Pick one. There's no way out of it, of addiction. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a way out, but if you keep doing that way, you can't control it because it takes a control over your body. And that's the thing. It's step one. Like when you say that you're powerless over it. And once you know that, then you can begin to start the healing process.
To heal. Yeah. Well, I think that's really important. Like what you said, like you said, that some people coast through life and they never get to that point where they're aware that they have a problem or they can't manage something. And I think that's a huge statement. Like everybody has a different capacity for what they can handle in every facet of life, not just any kind of like drugs or like alcohol. Right. And so I think it's really important to highlight. It's like 2 drinks for me could be, I'm fine. But some people, like it took me forever to like understand what my limit was. Like I was a debacle in college and then after Declan was born, I still did, like, I had to like and like, it's like, to your point, like, do you want to be like a hot mess all the time? Like, coming like that, and you got a kid looking out, who needs you, like, and then you're like, oh, what the is wrong with me? Like, not only am I letting myself down, I'm letting this kid down too. Like, but what I also love that you said, because my husband's a smoker, and it's a similar thing, right? Yeah. And in a different vertical, but people are like, well, how? Just got to get him to quit. I'm like, no, I can't make him do anything. He's got to figure out and if he's fine being a smoker the rest of his life. He hates when I say this, but I've said to him numerous times, like, if you die from lung cancer, I'm not coming to your funeral. Yeah. And I was like, so what's your, like, you do you, and I'm going to do me. But if this is the cause of death because you've consciously you have chosen this, you have consciously smoked something every day, a pack a day, how can I be sad about your choice? Right. That's your choice. So don't put it, and he's like, that's a horrible thing to say. And I was like, it's a horrible thing to smoke a pack of cigarettes today, but I don't give you shit for it. So, so I love that you said that you have to have that ownership and accountability, and you have to want to change. Right. And that is, I mean, I'm not in this process, you are, but like, I do know a bunch of people who have gone through like AA and other situations, and that's the thing they say. It's like it's the misconception to think anybody has control over you outside of you, like you are your own dominion, and you have carte blanche. So
and that's the thing too. Like some people say, for me, so when I did my program, I knew it was a disease, but I guess I just didn't understand that I had that as well, or I recognize it as that in myself, right? Because sometimes we're like, well, at least I don't. We do the. Well, at least I don't do that, or at least I don't. At least I don't drink every day, or at least I still have a job, or at least I still have a house, or at least I'm not on heroin. You know what I mean? We play those games as opposed to being like, no. This is because what it is like, I am powerless over this. I have no control. And so that's why I choose not to partake in it, because I don't know what's going to happen, because it's almost like I black out, like next thing you know, I'm like, binge weekending, and I'm like 3 days later, I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Why did I do that? But that's why I say it's bad case of the, fuck it, excuse me, but because it's like, that's why I texted and quit my job, because at that time in my life, something else was telling me to do so. I saw this picture. It was like, I made me cry a little bit, because it was like addictions like this, and someone was like bending over, just like a demon is like holding him on. And it's just like, it's so true, because I didn't feel, I wasn't myself when I was, of course, obviously it alters you, but I did all these decisions, and I made all these decisions, and it's like a whirlwind aftermath. And then I woke up, I'm like, what the heck happened? And then right behind me, my whole house was destroyed. Literally, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, I was just done with that lifestyle. And I'm fortunate though, because some people, they can't, or they've tried and they tried and they tried, and, you know, they struggle daily. I know friends that, you know, they're still in that, or, you know, like someone reached out to me the other day, and he was like, and I hadn't talked to this person for 9 years. Okay, it's back in California, and it was like a friend's boyfriend at the time, you know, but we knew because we kept on Facebook. He's like, hey, it's about your sobriety. I'm just got out of a program. Can I call you? And I was like, oh, sure. And this is through Facebook. I didn't have his number or anything, whatever. And then we talked, and he was like, how do you do it? Like, I struggle every single day, and I've been out for 2 months, you know, and maybe. But his was opposite of mine. Because for me, I changed people, places, and things because I was a social worker.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go to those places anymore. Okay. I blocked completely everybody that didn't serve me anymore. I unfollowed every single thing online that had to do with alcohol, that had to do with even that lifestyle. Like, yeah, I party on the weekend, cool, like all the meme pages. I'm not even kidding you. I blocked everybody on Facebook who posted anything about drugs, who posted, even people Snapchatting about, I blocked everybody. I didn't care. I blocked everybody. Like, anybody who shared something, hey, I'd like to do blow on the weekends. No, I blocked you too. Because I didn't want to see that. I did not care.
Good for you. That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean? Because I had to. But he was so opposite. He was a drinker quietly by himself. So for my thing to be like, go quiet, go be by yourself, was completely the wrong answer. You know. So, but it was cool that he reached out to me, because this is also why I'm doing it. Back to your first question, like, because you don't know who's watching, and you don't know who's A, probably watching you to fail, but also B, like, you need that story. Someone needs, like, a relatable story. Everybody needs that, you know, because they can see someone on, like, a famous person. Oh, yeah, I'm Gerard Butler. Like, I posted, and I'm sober 20 years. Cool, but is that relatable? Is it relatable? Or is someone like me who's trying to, you know, have a happy face, but on the inside I'm, like, struggling, you know? So I have an off-the-cuff question.
Do you think that there's anything in your life particularly that prompted you to be partial to this, or what's the question? How do I, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be accepted, or you want to be valued, or do you want to be loved? Is there something as you've gone through this and you've done this work that you're like, oh shit, this is why I chose that behavior? Does that resonate with you at all? And we can circle back.
I don't know if
fair. That's fair.
Oh my goodness. And that's crazy that you said that, because the program I went through, right? I was there for about 4 months. Or not there, but like we did it on Zoom. But I was in it for 4 months, and it was 3 hours a day, three times a day, plus AA. I went to NA. And then you get a sponsor. The very first thing I went in, we had to do this homework, and everyone at the time was on their family packet. Mm-hmm. And they were presenting it, and I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. Like, I am not going down that rabbit hole. I am not unworking all these different things. No. But then again, as the baby steps of the homework, the first homework was do you think you have this disease? Second homework was a goodbye letter. And I wrote a goodbye letter to my addiction and to my drug, called DOC, drug of choice. And I wrote, I went in on that. Dang, I wish I had it. I would have read it too. Dang, that would have been
That's okay.
Good. But it was just I was I made grown men cry in the classroom. They were bawling. My teacher was like, because I just, the way I was like so passionate about like, get out of my life, you know, you made me lose out on this, you made me lose out on this, you think I was this. And so, you know, so finally get to the family packet, right? And there's not, it's kind of a combination of things. Like, it's not like I had bad parents or anything. It was nothing like that. I think it was just more of like in a social setting. I've had a lot, I think I touched it last time we were on, in the podcast, like how I got beat up in school, and I never had a place to fit in really. Like, you're either too white for the Mexicans or whatever, or like too white for the white girls and Mexican or whatever that was. And so trying to find a place of like belonging, and then having such toxic partners in my life. Like Dominic's dad used to call, like, I mean, that's another thing too, like domestic violence. We had that, like there's a restraining order between us. He tried to run me over with my car one time. I was blocked out. I was
that's aggressive a little bit. Aggressive.
I woke up in the like a paramedics. I didn't know. I was like, what? So just a lot of stuff. And then, like, you know, he, like, there was times where, you know, I think he wanted to go kill himself because he was all hyped up on whatever, and we would used to do stuff together, and he would tell the people, like, he would go off, and I wouldn't talk to him for a couple of days, and then all these girls come back, like, he'd be with another girl, and I'd be like, what are you doing? She's like, you know, I'm like, that's my boyfriend. And she's like, what? I didn't know he had a boyfriend. Like, but we'd be together for 4 years. Like, just a bunch of shit. He's, you know, we were like that, like, like up and down, super roller coaster. So I think, and that was like the way I thought it was cool. Like, you know, back in my hometown in San Clemente, California, like, we just party as a little beach town. Everyone just kind of partied. We worked in Del Mar, and then we got off work and partied again, you know? And so, I think just not fitting in and just not feeling like ever pretty enough or skinny enough or worthy, honestly, just worthy of like anything good. And,
I hear you.
You know, just having all this emotion, but not really knowing how to like bring it out and get it out. So I feel like that was the way to let my hair down, you know, that was the way to let my hair, you know, and feel,
just let it go.
Anything, just let it go. Like, just hang out, or even sometimes, you know, hanging out after talking with my friends and after hours, and we're like in the car, like vibing to music. I'm like, this is cool. Like, we're having deep conversations, like, cause we're vibing to music in the car. Like, we're just fucked up, you know? But like, I was like, finally someone's like listening to me, cause like Jamal never did. My first boyfriend never did. And so like every single thing was just like, shut up, Alex. Like, you don't matter. So, and that was what, for 6 years we dated. And so, when I went to Texas, I just feel like I was able to like start fresh again, but then I got caught up in, you know, cause then I had a baby. I didn't feel good. Jamal left me at 8 months pregnant, you know, whatever. We can go into all that, but he, you know, just all this different stuff. Like, he got whatever. And so like finally just being recognized. It just like spiraling. So all this, so when I have all these other guys giving me attention, I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is nice. Like, they actually like look at me for me. So I thought, right? They're all hyped on whatever too. So, it's just going with emotions. And then, I just kind of wondering, like, not being like a pity party. Why me? But sometimes I did feel like that. And I'm like, let me just go drink and be the funny one. Cause I was like the funny one, always making people laugh and cracking up. Cause like, sometimes I would say something like that really happened to me, but I was like, oh my God, Alex, I can't believe that. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, no, that's a real story.
It's not funny.
Say something that's not funny. But maybe the way I said it, cause you know how people laugh, make like, oh, if you have trauma in your life, you're funny. It's like, well, because it's really not, but that's my defense. It's my coping mechanism. Like, it's just totally being funny, trying to like make light of everything. Like, oh yeah, like, no, it's cool. Like, no big deal. And I was like, how'd you get over that? I'm like, I don't know. And go, you know, you don't, you hide in it, you bury it. Correct. Know? Like, this is my mask on that I have, and I go in the back, and you don't see, you know, my friend said when she found all this, she's like, I didn't know that it was that bad. And I was like, because I didn't want you to know. Like, I didn't want you to know.
So funny you say that. So I live in this really cute Florida town, and we have this great country club. It's not like a bougie one. It's just like low key, but great. Whatever. I live on a country club. I play tennis at the fucking country club. Okay.
Wow, you have a laundry room and you play tennis.
Hashtag, oh God.
Peak adulthood.
I know, first world problems for sure. I do. I have a lot of them.
I love it.
But I asked that question because I think a lot of your story resonates with me in certain ways, like abusive childhood. Everybody is like, oh, Brie, you're so bubbly. And I got like pigeonholed, and this is a totally different like dynamic, but like pegged as like the bubbly blonde, who everybody, and it's a different stereotype, but it's one that exists for a reason, as most stereotypes. Like people just like, oh, you're this, so you must be that,
Right.
So everybody sees this bubbly blonde and assumes that, like, I'm a cheerleader and that daddy pays for everything and da-da-da.
Right.
And nobody ever, like, all of that essence was because of all this pain that I had, from never feeling good enough, and I wasn't good enough for my own mother, and then, my parents both get remarried, and there's all these other people involved, and you're just like, and like I didn't discover alcohol until I was in my 20s. Like I was working my butt off, and I just wanted to get out of the hell that was created, not by me, but by other people that I was subjected to, and in retrospect, like, a lot of people have had it a lot worse than I did, but living in an abusive household was debilitating because you never feel good enough. And whether you get that from your parents or a partner, whether you're 6 or 16 or 9 or 19 or whatever, like the outcome is the same. Like you're all of a sudden, you just feel like a shell that nobody's ever going to love you. You're not worthy. You don't have value. And how the fuck are you supposed to make it in the world? And you turn to something eventually. So I asked that question because I like totally feel you. And like, I see why people choose certain behaviors because it makes them, they can forget about it. You can forget about the pain. You can forget about the worthlessness. You can and even though you have this beautiful child, like we love our children, they don't make us whole humans. Like and I'm sure this is something you might be going through or have gone through in your journey. It's like you have to make yourself whole, right? So nobody can fill that gap for you, So I just think it's incredible to like point out for anybody who might be struggling, like a lot of the emotions that come with the actions, they might not be, I'll say in quotes, like your fault. Like it wasn't my fault. My mom beat the shit out of me. I didn't do anything. I was a kid, right? 25, it's not your fault your ex-boyfriend beat you and left you at 8 months pregnant. That's not your fault. But the way you take that in is so different. And then you have to like dig yourself back out, and that's a whole different ball game. It's and you have to find value in yourself, and nobody can ever give that to you. And when you've been literally beat down, finding that value can be really fucking hard. And you turn to things.
Hard. You turn to things.
100%. So I'm just like I'm over here like trying not to cry.
No, I know, me too. I was like, hold on one second. Hold on. He like waved over my body. I was like,
I know, right?
Yeah. No, it's so true.
On that note, how does staying sober allow you to stay true to who you are and also to your son?
Oh man, this is the cool part I want to talk about too. Like, yes, the trauma and everything is important. Yes, that, but like because people so much think like, oh my gosh, you don't drink, like you must be boring. And like, or you, oh my God, like I get so many things because I still bartend. So I'm a sober bartender, and people are like, oh my God, you don't drink? Like, well, what do you do? Like they can't fathom. And of course it's probably because it's like, I'm still a bartender, whatever. But like, and people are coming to me and I'm giving them drinks. But it's also like, people they think that's all they can do, or like that's what they think outside weather. Let's go get drunk. Let's go patio drink. You know, and don't get me wrong, that's fun. I enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, I feel like I enjoy this better because someone in my NA meeting was talking about how he lives a boring life, quote unquote, now, and he loves it because he gets up, you know, he has money. He's like, I went to buy an electric toothbrush. He's like, I've always wanted one. I never had money to get one, you know. And he's like, I took a shower and like all those things. And he's like, and I just went, and I was able to afford it, you know, because he wasn't spending his money on you know, A, B, and C, D. And he paid all his bills. And he's like, and I went to get an electric toothbrush, and I treat myself, and now it's great, and now I get to use it. And you know, he was saying it kind of a funny way, but I was like, that it stuck with me. And I heard that maybe like 10 months ago now, but that stuck with me because I was like, oh my God. That's so true, because when I was in active addiction, I would look at people, you know, like those memes, like, oh, we're still awake at 6 a.m. and these people are getting up at 6 a.m. like running and something. I'm like, I want to be that person. You know, I want to be that person. I was like, oh my God, this person is like, I don't know, they went to the doctor because they like committed an appointment to themselves and then they made it. They showed up to do it. Or they like, you know, like all these little things that we take for granted and that we think that are boring, that routine, that's boring. Going to the gym, that's boring. Oh, you got to take up and go get your son to school. Oh, that sucks to wake up early. No, I get to wake up early, and I'm not hungover. I get to do these things, and I am so grateful. Like I tell people all the time, they look at me crazy because they're just like, does this chick like drink some Kool-Aid, like the sober NA Kool-Aid or some shit like that? You know what I mean? They're like, you know, and I'm just like, no, I get to do all this stuff because I did it for so long. Like, the fact that I worked at Craftway Kitchen for almost a year now, like I've got to and I've showed up on time, do my job, you know, and I get to all these things. Like I get to get up with Dominic, and he goes to soccer. Like, can you imagine if I didn't have money to put him in soccer? That's adds up. But like the $70 that it cost to do soccer, that went to the bar, or that went to this.
Yep.
So no. Your idea of a boring life is my idea of like, I made it. Like this is, I finally get to do these things. I did it for so long. I mean, it's so awesome. It's a full life. It's so fulfilling. And and everyone's like, what? And they don't understand. And at the time and it's not for everyone to understand, and maybe they will never will.
It's your journey.
It's my journey. And that's what's so cool though. But the coolest part about it, the positive part about it is people are so, they look at you like, you are so happy. And that's like the best compliment. You look so happy. Thank you. You look, you know, and I'm just, you're like, the other day, you're like a really good mom. Thank you. And like, I'm just being a mom. I'm like, when people tell me that, I'm like, I don't do it. I don't post these pictures and everything to show, like, guess what, guys? I'm being a good mom. Like, cause if you know what I mean? If you're asking someone for that validation, that means you're not, you know, you just do it and people see. Right. And so for me, it's like, and then I get to share my other journey with other people. Like the way I've been so much, it's almost like, not like woke and like that way, but like I've been awake now. Like I'm awake to all this. Like I see things now. I don't listen to the same music like I used to do anymore. I don't watch the same TV shows that I used to do. I try not to cuss anymore.
Wow.
I don't, like I said, I don't have that same mindset anymore. Like before, like me and my friends back home, like we used to kind of commiserate, like, oh, here we go, and like talk about stuff that has no meaning. Even friends here. Talk about stuff that's so meaningless, like, oh, do you see Susie did this, and like, oh my gosh, she slept with that guy, and like, oh my god. And I used to be like, yeah, oh my god, but now it's just like, I don't care, and it's not in like a bitchy way, but just like that has nothing of value to me.
Yeah,
because misery loves company, and you are still in that. Because when we say active addiction, that's all in that same mindset. You're like, it's a mindset. Going out partying, being miserable. I'm sorry, but you are being miserable. I don't know if I'll get backlash for that, but that's okay. You know, like. Then because you're hungover again, and then you're miserable because you're hungover, and then you're pissed off that you just spent $200, then you got to do it over again because you think you need to work 5 days a week to make those $200 because you're spending $800, but you're making $1,000 a week. So you're still broke. How come I have more money than you and I work 4 days a week? I was able to work 4 days a week and stay home with my son more because of all this. Yeah, you know, I had to save a little bit, but I was able, like, my credit's up. My car's paid off. My other loans are paid off. Like, I'm down 30 pounds since last January. Yeah, inches.
Good for you.
I work out. Yes, like I just started 2 businesses. You
started 2 businesses?
Yes, and I'm getting my real estate license too, which I put that on hold. But I started my body contouring business. And I'm doing Herbalife along with it because you need like a nice nutrition plan along with that. And
what's
so I'm doing those.
Contouring? What's that?
So body contouring is when you use I know, right? Cavitation and radiofrequency. It's they like dissolve your subcutaneous fat, so like the layer, not the visceral fat that's like underneath. It's like because you eat a lot of, McDonald's or pizza, French fries, all the French fries, and drinks, whatever. But like the top layer of the fat. And so I would kind of relate it to someone who's really like Coolsculpting in a way, but it's not. Different machine, different techniques, stuff like that. We use wood therapy to kind of contour your body. And it's just a beauty service. I got it done to me a couple of times, and I was like, oh, I want to do this because I did esthetician school for like a while ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't, I'm trying to get back into all the things. Like I'm looking at my little 2022 board right now, like all the things it says like, finish classes for a real estate career and start body contouring biz, get my esthetician license, fix my credit score, save for a house, make 6 figures. Like, here we go. But like I wasn't. But also, it's so cute. But this is the thing. Like being clean and sober, I get to be around other people who, and not all of them are clean and sober, but they have that lifestyle, like that mindset of like, I stopped hanging out with those people, and I started hanging out with this one girl. She has her own business. 2 months later, I have my own business. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? That's so cool. They really do. It really does show like who you hang out with, like that's who you're gonna be. And I was just hanging around with, I always said I was fishing in the wrong pond. Like I was just always, like even with guys, and this is not like whoever, like I was just fishing in the wrong pond, and I was always getting mad at myself because I kept fishing that same pond. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. And maybe I'll just go to a different restaurant. Like, no, it's the same, And that lifestyle, like there's nothing good for me if I'm going out there. And like I get to go to bed early. Some people are like, so my middle name is Esther, and when I do I drink my hot tea every single night. Even before I was doing Herbalife, I do like just regular herbal tea. And my friends always like, Esther strikes again, because I'm like in bed like early with my big glasses on, and I'm watching Golden Girls, or I'm sleeping, or I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like all these different things.
Love Golden Girls.
I was just like, I love Golden Girls. First of all, I do Golden Girls or like King of Queens. Just like whatever background noise, and so and that's the cool part of just like being clean and sober. I get to, it's almost like people are just like looking up to me in like such a positive way, which is cool because I'm around a lot of younger girls right now, and I don't want them to, if I can impact them in a certain way. Obviously people are going to do what they're going to do, right? I did what I was going to do when I was 21. People are telling me, don't do that. I still did it. But if they see me in a certain light, or someone around them that's, influence them to do something other than like, what social media or what some naked girl on Instagram is telling them to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some sort of impact, hopefully, and maybe maybe if I can reach one person, that I could be like, hey, like I can overcome domestic violence. I've overcome sexual assault. I've overcome, you don't say you overcome addiction because you always are an addict. Like someone was like, you beat it. And I was like, no, that's incorrect. Like I didn't beat it. Like I'm still an addict. I don't just, now I'm not going to go do that again and have control over it. No, like that's not how it works, And some people ask me that too.
I'm the Mom Who Knows Not. My name is Brianna. This has been the Mom Who Knows Not a podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into part 1 of Vega's sobriety journey, and how her son has inspired her, as well as her ambitions in life have kind of created her path. Tune in next week when we discuss more about this journey for her, as well as why she has set firm boundaries with her employers. And we even discuss a little bit about my pandemic drinking and why I think it's a problem. So we'll see you next week.